Hola gente de azul, bienvenidas un día más a mi canal, soy Enea y hoy os traigo Dragon Age. Pero no os traigo un Dragon Age normal, sino que esto va a ser un capítulo sin comentar porque he tenido un problema con el micro. Pondré un trozo de cómo se escucha en realidad cuando hablo y en mi cara veréis, no sé lo que pondré, pero la cubriré y así no veréis cómo gesticulo mientras no escucháis absolutamente nada. Siento los inconvenientes, pero es que si no ponía lo que voy a poner, entonces no puedo volver atrás porque guardo todo el rato lo mismo, soy un poco... y entonces habría un vacío muy grande en la historia de Dragon Age, así que prefiero que lo veáis, si lo veis, sin comentarios. Y nada, lo siento mucho por los inconvenientes otra vez, espero que no... Voy a intentar que no vuelva a ocurrir, espero que os guste. Darle un licazo, suscribirse, comentario y todo esto. Sé que no me lo merezco, lo siento, de verdad. Y nos vemos en el siguiente. ¡Hasta luego!
Not seize upon it. To be truthful, I didn't even know the crows existed when I joined.
I didn't feel like talking about it then. What happened to me? Maybe it will affect us, maybe not, but you should know. I came to Ferelden and the Chantry because I was being hunted in Orlais. I was framed, betrayed by someone I thought I knew and could trust. Marjolaine. She was my mentor and friend. She taught me the bardic arts, how to enchant with words and song, to carry myself like a highborn lady, to blend in as a servant. The skills I learned, I used to serve her, my bard master, because I loved her, and because I enjoyed what I did. You can say it was my fault. There was a man I was sent to kill. I was to bring Marjolaine everything he carried. I don't know who this man was. She gave me a name and a description, and I hunted him down. I found documents on his body, sealed documents. My curiosity got the better of me. Something told me that I needed to know what was in those letters. Marjolaine had been selling all kinds of information about Orlais to other countries, Nevara and Antiva among others. It was treason. Some. But I had always assumed Marjolaine only operated within Orlais. This was an unhappy surprise for me. My life as bard taught me that my loyalties should be kept fluid. My concern was not that she was a traitor, but that her life would be in danger if she was caught. Orlais has been at war with so many countries. It takes a harsh view of such things, as I later discovered. To Marjolaine, no one else. I resealed them and gave them to her, as she had instructed. I should have left well alone, but I didn't. I had to tell Marjolaine I feared for her life. She brushed aside my concern. She admitted her guilt, but said it was in the past. That is why the documents had to be destroyed, she said. I believed her. I kept believing, up till the moment they showed me the documents, altered by her hand, to make me look the traitor. The Orlesian guards, they captured me, did terrible things to make me confess and reveal my conspirators. It was a traitor's punishment I endured, and at the end of it, all that awaited me was eternity in an unmarked grave. The skills Marjolaine taught me were good for something at least. I broke free when I saw the opportunity. I did not seek Marjolaine out. If she thought I was coming for her, she would have me caught again. I was tempted to confront her. I was furious, betrayed. But what could I do against her? And so I fled to Ferelden, to the Chantry and the Maker. Ferelden protected my person, and the Maker saved my soul. And that is the reason I am here. The real reason. No more lies between us, at least in this. It feels good to have this off my chest. Thank you for listening and understanding. I was just thinking about what happened to the elves, and I'm reminded of a song sung to me many years ago. It was when my mother died, and this wise elven woman comforted me and told me that we shouldn't fear death or hate it. Death is just another beginning. One day, we must all shed our earthly bodies to allow our spirits to fly free. And thus you embark upon another journey. Death is just the gateway. Something I can help with? That's an idea. I've watched you, and I do think you'd find some of my skills quite easy to pick up. Let's just go over there, away from the others, for safety, yes? I expect there shall be daggers flying about willy-nilly for a time. Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? My mother was from Denerim, and I consider myself a Ferelden. Mother served an Orlesian noblewoman who lived here when Orlais ruled. When Orlais was defeated and the common folk began to resent the presence of any Orlesian, the lady returned to Orlais. She took my mother with her. I was born in Orlais and did not set foot in Ferelden till much later. Mother was always telling me stories of her homeland. I think she missed it. Mother died when I was very young. Lady Cecily let me stay with her. I had no one else. She was quite old then, and she had me study music and dance to entertain her. It is unfair that I have more memories of Cecily than my mother. Strangely, the only thing I really remember of Mother was her scent. She kept dried flowers in her closet amongst her clothes, Small white Ferelden wildflowers with a sweet fragrance. Mother called them Andraste's Grace. They were very rare in Orlais. But enough about that. Let us move on. Something I can help with? Go? What do you mean, go? You want me to leave? Something I can help with? Yes? What's on your mind? I miss Val Royeaux. Unlike other cities where the people are the lifeblood and the character, Val Royeaux was her own person, and her people little more than decorations. There was always music in Val Royeaux, streaming from the many windows, quiet refrains and triumphant choruses, and always, floating above that all, the chant, coming from the Grand Cathedral. It was magnificent. Yes, I'm sure it is, but every city has a different personality. It is hard to describe. You have to be there. Of course, there are good things and bad things about Orlais, like anywhere else. Sometimes I miss it dearly, and sometimes I'm glad I'm rid of it. And you will laugh at this, but I miss the fine things I had in Orlais. Dresses, fine dresses and furs, and shoes, of course. One can't mingle with nobility with bad shoes, you see. Orlais is very fashionable, almost ridiculously so. But the shoes, living with those ridiculous trends was worth it for the shoes. Well, they're shoes. They're pretty. Some of them anyway. When I left Orlais, the fashion was shoes with delicate tapered heels and embellishments in the front. A ribbon, perhaps, or embroidery. In soft colors, of course. It was spring. I wouldn't want to run in it, or have to enter battle, but for lounging in a lady's sitting room, perfect. The shoes made in Orlais were exquisite. Not at all like these clunky fur-lined leather boots you have in Ferelden. Ugh, just look at them. They're sturdy shoes, but sometimes a girl just wants to have pretty feet. Oh, I could talk about shoes all day, but we have things to do, don't we?
All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. And why not? There are many things to enjoy about being a crow in Antiva. You are respected, you are feared, the authorities go out of their way to overlook your trespasses, even the rewards are nothing to turn your nose up at. As for the killing part, well, some people simply need assassinating. Or do you disagree? I often find myself the instrument of fate, ending these lives for one necessity or another. I console myself with the notion that most of them had it coming. As far as enjoying the act of killing itself, why not? There is a certain artistry to the deed, the pleasure of sinking your blade into their flesh and knowing that their life is in your hands. There are many things I did not enjoy about being a crow, of course. Having no choice, being treated as an expendable commodity, the rules, oh, so many rules. But simply being an assassin, I like it just fine. I will continue to do it if I can, even if I am not a crow. Honestly, could you picture me doing something else? I mean professionally. Or maybe you mean professionally as well. Perhaps you intend to peddle my services to bored Ferelden noblewomen. It is an interesting thought, but I've always removed my clothes strictly on an amateur basis. A talented amateur, of course, but an amateur nonetheless. Of course, all these thoughts are moot. Chances are still good that you and I will perish, eaten by darkspawn or slain by the crows at some point. Very gruesomely, I imagine. But it is pleasant enough to chat about. Come, let's move on while our boots still have some wear in them. All right, but I get to stare at you luridly while you do so. My adventures? I'm hardly an old man just returned from across the ocean, am I? Should I shake my fist at nearby children while I talk about the good old days? Falling down a flight of stairs is an adventure. Falling into someone's bed, also an adventure. I am assuming what you're looking for are professional anecdotes. Let's see, my second mission ever for the Crows was a bit intriguing. I was sent to kill a mage who had been meddling in politics. How should I know? I got the impression it involved sex, but then I get that impression about most everything. Odd, really. As it turned out, the mage in question was quite a delightful young woman. Long, divine legs, as I recall. I caught her in a carriage on her way to escape to the provinces. After I killed her guard, she got down on her hands and knees and begged for her life. Rather aptly, I might add. So I joined her in the carriage for the night and left the next morning. Well, yes, twice, actually. Then she decided to try and use me instead. The woman had actually convinced me to speak to the Crows on her behalf. What can I say? I was young and foolish at the time. Then, as I was kissing her goodbye to return to Antiva City, she slipped on the threshold and fell backwards out of the carriage. Broke her neck. Shame, really, but at least it happened quickly. Not actually, no. I was a bit unimpressed by the development at first. Then I found out that she had told the driver to take her to Janellen instead. She had planned to lose me in the provinces. I would have looked very foolish to the Crows. As it was, my master was very impressed that I had done such a fine job of making it look like an accident. The circle of Magi was unaware of foul play, and everyone was happier all around. I got stupid, in fact, and very lucky. It was after that when I learned that one needn't let a pretty face go to your head. Professionalism was key. That's my moral of the day, you see. Well, there is you. But I'll point out that you did have to capture me and tie me up first. Every rule has its exception. Now that I've mentioned tying me up in that context, do we have extra rope about?
I'm wondering something. I'd like to know your thoughts about some of our traveling companions. Do you mind if I ask? I've got this nefarious plan to go around to each of them and secretly tell them all the nasty things you said. That way they'll mutiny and I shall become the group leader. What? Lead? Me? No leading. Bad things happen when I lead. We get lost, people die, and the next thing you know, I'm stranded somewhere without any pants. Seriously though, I'm only curious. I've had enough time to form my own opinions, and I just want to see if yours are any different. Zevran, the elf. You can't trust him, can you? Do you believe his so-called vow? Really? Why? That's a lot of trust to put in someone who tried to kill you. Yes, I see that. What about Sten? The way he looks at me with those eyes. Creepy. And he's so quiet for someone so big. The more I talk to him, the more reasonable he does seem. His philosophy is so strange. But it doesn't sound at all as vile as the Chantry describes it. And yet, he killed all those people. He doesn't even deny it. Doesn't that bother you? I don't know if I like the sound of that. But I guess I take your meaning. What about Liliana? Is she crazy? Or do you really believe in her vision? Even the Chantry believes that most claims of visions and such are usually people's minds playing tricks on them. Wishful thinking at best. I'm not sure what I think. That's one way to put it. I don't know what to make of her. If you look at her when she doesn't see you, she just looks so sad. I almost feel guilty taking her away from her life. Yes, I know. Still, I feel badly for her. Morrigan, do you trust her? Think about it. Maybe Flemeth sent her with us for some other reason than she said. Hello? Have you met her? I think she'd need a reason not to betray us. Well, there is that. Enough. I think my curiosity is sated. Let's get back to it, shall we? Here, look at this. Do you know what this is? Yes, that's right. Watch as I thrash our enemies with the mighty power of floral arrangements. Feel my thorns, darkspawn. Ah! I will overpower you with my rosy scent. Or, you know, it could just be a rose. I know that's pretty dull in comparison. I picked it in Lothering. I remember thinking, how could something so beautiful exist in a place with so much despair and ugliness? I probably should have left it alone, but I couldn't. The Darkspawn would come and their taint would just destroy it. So I've had it ever since. I thought that I might give it to you, actually. In a lot of ways, I think the same thing when I look at you. I guess it's a bit silly, isn't it? I just thought, here I am, doing all this complaining, and you haven't exactly been having a good time of it yourself. You've had none of the good experience of being a Grey Warden since your joining. Not a word of thanks or congratulations. It's all been death and fighting and tragedy. I thought maybe I could say something. Tell you what a rare and wonderful thing you are to find amidst all this darkness. I'm glad you like it. Now, if we could move right on past this awkward, embarrassing stage and get right to the steamy bits, I'd appreciate it. Ha ha. Bluff called. Damn, she saw right through me. Well, it doesn't have to be a bluff. Well, I suppose we are in the camp. The tent's right over there. This is true. I'll be standing over here until the blushing stops, just to be safe. You know how it is.
To put it lightly, no one has a place here. Your farmers wish to be merchants. The merchants dream of being nobles, and the nobles become warriors. No one is content to be who they are. There is interesting food here. You have a thing. It doesn't have a word in the Kunari tongue. Little baked things like bread, but sweet and crumbly. Yes, we have no such things in our lands. This should be remedied. Shall we move on? What does that accomplish? The farmer who buys a shop is never a merchant. He is always a farmer turned merchant. He carries his old life with him as a turtle carries its shell. Does it? It's also his weakness. If he stumbles and falls over, it pins him on his back. It is better to armor yourself with no more than what you need. One life, one duty. Shall we move on? Perhaps. It's strange to be in a crowd and hear a language that is not your own. To see faces that are and aren't like yours. I miss the smells of Saharon. Tea and incense and the sea. Ferelden smells of wet dogs. True. I was trying to forget that part. Shall we move on? As you wish.
Don't kill him.
A close thing.
He is no common bandit. None of them were. Their weapons and armor are of fine make, and they are well trained. You know what I'm talking about, don't you? Who are you?
Someone who regrets taking you on. I was told it would be an easy job. Kill the little red-haired girl. Deal with the others as we pleased.
Kill the... You came to kill me? Who sent you? Why am I wanted dead?
I don't pay to ask why someone wants someone else dead. I just need to know what to do and where to get my money. Ha! Money. I'll be lucky to get away with my life, it seems. Maybe we could work something out. You like the idea?
Speak quickly.
I've no real quarrel with you. Wasn't me that wanted you dead. But I know how you can find the one who does. Never found out. Got the feeling the man I spoke to was doing someone else's bidding, too. I have some directions written down on how to get to the house. It's in Denerim. Yeah, it's the best I can do.
Thank you. Now leave. I never want to see you again.
But she said I could.
It's Marjolaine. It has to be. Maybe someone saw me. Maybe she's finally found me and wants to finish what she started. She needs to answer for what she's done to me. If we are ever in Denerim, I would like to seek her out. Perhaps it's time to settle this score for good. Got it.
Time award.
Look at all these people hawking their wares. It's almost like a little city.
How are we supposed to live like this? I have buyers waiting.
May the ancestors protect us all.
Yes? Oh? What was this about? Oh, I see. Tauren must have sent you. I refuse to answer to a pawn of Tauren. Come, men, to arms!
All right, all right. I'm your guard.
true Grey Wardens killed Ferelden's king?
Thank the Maker my brother and his family made it out of Lothering. He said that the Darkspawn attacked it the very next day.
The Darkspawn took Lothering, did they?
I don't know. I expect so, since there was no one there to stop them.
Well, it won't be much longer until those monsters get here. There doesn't seem to be anyone fighting them now.
Bloody dwarves will argue themselves into poverty if they aren't careful.
What can I do for you? This ought to be interesting. Such diction. This man is a true scholar and rhetorician. I am honored to be fired by one such as he. Good day.
I saw what you were doing back there.
Oh?
Don't play innocent with me.
What are you talking about?
You playing with that kitten.
There was no kitten.
Sten, I saw you. You were dangling a piece of twine for it.
I was helping it train.
You're a big softy.
We will never speak of this again.
Softy.
The assembly is deadlocked. No one knows when they'll reopen the city.
How long? Someone get them to tell me how long, because this is ridiculous.
Oh, you wish to talk to me? Truly, it's a courtesy for one so well-armed to notice a lowly merchant. It's not your business, but like my father, I was born on the surface. We never had a caste to leave. The assembly says we've turned our back on the stone, but they still use the goods we bring. Hypocrites.
That's not right. Someone should do something.
Maybe it'll change by the time my children are grown. Twice a year, I'm confined to a trade stall in the Commons, but I see enough. It's very closed in. My grandfather says I've lost my stone sense. I was born topside. I don't remember having it. Best of luck to you.
I demand an audience with the representative of your king. King Loghain will not suffer the...
Vieta! This land is held in trust for the sovereign dwarven kings. I cannot allow entry at this time.
King Loghain demands the allegiance of the Desher, or lords, or whatever you call them in your assembly. I am his appointed messenger.
I don't care if you're the king's wiper. ORZAMMAR will have none but its own until our throne is settled.
You won't get in talking about a king like that.
Wait, look at me. You're the brand who dishonored the Proving. Trust you to be ignorant of our tragedy. ORZAMMAR has no king. Endrin Idukan returned to the stone not 3 weeks ago, sick over the loss of his sons. The assembly has gone through a dozen votes without agreeing on a successor. If it is not settled soon, we risk a civil war.
The Wardens killed King Cailan and nearly doomed Ferelden. They're sworn enemies of King Loghain.
Well, that is the Royal Seal. That means only the Assembly is authorized to address it. Grey Warden, you may pass.
You're letting in a traitor? And what was that you said? A filthy brand? In the name of King Loghain, I demand that you execute this stain on the honor of Ferelden. You'll hear of this. King Loghain will see you quartered.
You are free to enter ORZAMMAR, Grey Warden. Though I don't know what help you will find.
Atrost follow, Warden. Your arrival is a mixed blessing. Your return is not celebrated, but we must respect your new role. Fair journeys, Warden.
How magnificent. These must be the statues of the dwarven paragons.
I'll get on it.
show some pity for a poor old man? If only you had come at a less troubled time.
Now that's a thing of beauty, daughter. If you work hard like Branka, all ORZAMMAR will know your name.
Mother, I don't want to be like her. She...
Don't say that! Not to me, not to anyone. I'll get on it. Get back to the forge. I want to see more details.
Yes, Mother.
May the ancestors protect Branka, wherever she is.
I have a question it may be able to answer, Elder Mage.
Must it always be Elder Mage? I'm not a wizened old crone just yet.
Would it prefer mage well past her prime don't mind the sagging bits?
You have an odd way of requesting answers to your questions.
I'm curious about the abominations of the tower. Is it possible for such a creature to become human again?
Yes, it is simply very difficult. It requires travel into the Fade.
And? Is the mage the same afterwards as the mage was before?
No, I have never met such a person, but no, they are changed forever.
I understand. Thank you for the answer, wise one.
Can I get you a ladder so you can get off my back?
It is the Assembly who makes a king, and a king who nominates his successor. None of it is carried in the blood.
Or, as now, when someone tries using the Assembly to pull a coup. Who's to say what my father said in his final hours, when the usurper Harrowmont was the only one by his side?
I'll have you thrown in prison.
You've bitten off more than you can chew!
Handlers, separate these dashers in the Diamond Quarter. I will not have Balin incite a riot.
You not speak that way about the man who should be king! I won't have fighting in the Commons, especially in front of
All right.
I find that son of a fool, I'll have him in the Legion. Vieta! I have enough crime without some castless carrying weapons in the city. Your actions risk pain of death. Name yourself! Warden. You? When I heard they accepted a brand, I thought it was a joke. Surfacers and their cloud-addled heads. Fine, oh illustrious Grey Warden. What do you want? You have little faith in your own city, Brand. Excuse me, Warden, but this isn't Dust Town. The tavern is open and the market is busy. ORZAMMAR has suffered worse. The ancestors will see us through. They've caged themselves for fear of each other. As you've seen, keeping order down among us working people is dodgy. No place for a proper lord. Balin speaks through his second, Vartag Gavorn, in the Assembly. Lord Harrowmont speaks through Dulin Ferender from his estate. Are you sure you're still a dwarf? Ancestors have patience. If Branka could hear this, well, I wouldn't be standing in dried blood. If you must be our warden, at least know us. Go to the Shaper of Memories in the Shaperate, the true bright spot in the Diamond Quarter. Surface problems. Well, we have no king to hear you. You can join the shouting at the Assembly in the Diamond Quarter if you want. Bunch of Desher lords bickering over sand. Balin, Harrowmont. Is one so different? No paragons here. Yes, you should.
For a tiny people, they certainly build high ceilings.
Did you see that? I cannot believe what this city has come to. This would never have happened when Endrin was alive.
I thought you'd know this.
What a terrible burden for a father to have only Balin left of 3 fine sons. In the end, Endrin himself recognized that Balin cared for nothing but power. It was Endrin who ordered his son away from his deathbed and embraced Lord Harrowmont as his heir. The city is torn apart. King Endrin is dead, and the Assembly can't decide who takes the throne, Lord Harrowmont or that monster Balin. Everybody knows he killed his brother Trian and let his father's favorite son take the blame. And many question whether Endrin died abed, as we were told, or whether Balin helped him along. I am Narav Helmi, 3rd daughter of the 2nd matron of House Helmi. And you, stranger, what brings you to ORZAMMAR at such a time? A blight? Now? But our warriors are killing each other in the streets. Who will lead the battle? How will we survive? Then may the ancestors guide your efforts. If you seek Lord Harrowmont's support, talk to Dulin Ferender. You'll find him in Harrowmont's estate. Tell him who you are, and I'm sure he can get you an audience. I should return home until the streets become safe again.
I knew I should have stuck to common nugs. Now I've gone and lost them too. I'll never find them the way they skitter. No way I'm going back to that supplier in Dust Town. Guess I'm shutting it down. Good on you, stranger. Only need one to turn this around.
Excuse me, do you have a moment? Oh, I actually was talking to your companions, or are you from the surface too? Oh, wonderful! I've been trying forever to find someone who really knows the surface world. I don't suppose you've heard of something called the Circle? Oh, my lady, it's an honor. I've never met an actual mage. Is it true you can manipulate nature's forces with your mind? Like you were born with lyrium in your veins?
Don't let the glamour fool you, child. Wielding magic is a dangerous occupation, and a great responsibility.
I've been trying to reach someone there for years. I've sent missives with every caravan, but I never get a reply. I want to know if they would accept me for study. I don't want to do magic. No dwarf can cast spells, but I don't see why I shouldn't study it. It would be a valuable exchange. ORZAMMAR would learn of one of the great natural forces of the surface. And the Circle gains direct access to our knowledge of lyrium smithing. What do you mean? Oh, you're looking for payment. My father's shop refines lyrium for smithing. If you help me, I'm sure I could get you some. That would be wonderful. My name is Dagna, daughter of Janar of the Smithcasts. Tell them I've already begun reading the Teventer Imperium's Verticum Kadab, and it's just fascinating. Did you know the Imperial Magister Lords once had genealogies of every human family known to produce a mage child? Oh, I'll go pack my bags right now. I'll be waiting by my father's shop.
Greetings, and welcome to Garen Garrison's luxury goods shop. Wow, there are a lot of you. And I've never seen one of those before. The things they come up with. What was I saying? Oh, I was hoping you wouldn't notice. Most people don't anymore. Or maybe they're too polite to mention it. I had a little incident a few years back. Too much time with the raw lyrium ore, you know. Maybe it was a bad vein. I cut myself and the dust got straight in the blood. Since then, it's been a little hard for me to concentrate. Except when forging, then I'm straight as an arrow. Best work I've ever seen. Look around the shop. See for yourself. Of course we are. You should know that. Even surface dwarves lose it. Us down here, though, we should be able to handle it just fine. Only not too much, and not every day, and not breathing the dust, and not direct in the blood. Ancestors' own bad luck. Right. Best in the trade, you know. I worked the ore myself.
Broads, I hear they're crawling with darkspawn.
I'm sorry, but I cannot allow you past the front lines without Adesh's permission. And I've heard nothing of any new patrols scheduled to leave today. Into the deep roads? Not without a full unit of soldiers to back you, my friend. Or Adesh's permission to risk yourself. ORZAMMAR can't afford to lose its citizens or honored guests on casual visits to the deeps. Of course not. Down here, you're bound to run into giant spiders, deep stalkers, and other vermin. A few outposts. Legion of the Dead, mostly. Fools that they are. Some scavenger types, too. Into the deep roads? Not without a full unit of soldiers to back you, my friend. Or Adesh's permission to risk yourself. ORZAMMAR can't afford to lose its citizens or honored guests on casual visits to the deeps. Aye, for your sake, I hope you've no reason to come here again.
Go on, I'm out of the nug game. Got nothing to sell. Saraka, I'm back in the game, such as it is. I don't have much besides gratitude, but find a bunch more of these and I'll toss you whatever I found.
I'm sorry. Did you have an offering for the ancestors? I can move aside. I don't have much to bring them. My name is Vilda, widow of Turok of the Smith Caste. I pray here every day for my son, Rak. I only wish I knew whether I should be asking for his safe return or for the ancestors to accept his soul. Stone, guide your steps.
Maker's blessing on you, sister. The Maker brought forth this world and every creature in it. He chose a human woman as his prophet and bride, but he loves all races. I'm Brother Burkle of the Red Cliff Chantry, returned to my ancestors' land to spread the chant of light. I'm petitioning to open a chantry in ORZAMMAR. May the Maker's light shine through the darkness in your soul.
I'll get on it.
Let me guess. This is where the poor people live.
I see enemies ahead!
We'll get plenty of once we cut them out of here.
Okay, I'll get on now. Can I get you a ladder so you can get off my back?
Who are you? You don't look like any guardsman I ever saw, and that's not much of a uniform. Oh, you looking for a chance to bring in some coin? Could be I have that opportunity. Especially for someone with a few connections above ground. Human kings, you know, they make these ridiculous laws. Like about who gets to buy and sell Lyrian, the sacred gift the stone provides us to show her love. No law should regulate that. The laws are meant to keep mages away from the stuff, so there's always buyers in the Circle Tower. I got one man named Godwin. He's expecting a delivery of a stone's weight. You want an investment opportunity? I could see fit to, say, sell you that lyrium instead, at the reasonable price of 50 sovereigns. You can keep it, or, since you can travel freely from here, sell it to Godwin, who you know is buying. And if you bring back his return order, I could pay you, say, 20 sovereigns as a finder's fee. You haggle like a merchant born. Deal. Here's the lyrium, then. You, probably don't want to take it out of the box. I'll be waiting for the next order somewhere out of sight. Say, just around the corner.
Spare a bit for the needy? Please. Have you a coin to spare, milady? It's for my son. He's sick. He hasn't any clean clothes to wear or anything to eat today. Neither have I. I am nothing. My family has disowned me. I'm no longer welcome in any mining cast hall. Unless... But no! I can't bear to even think of it! My name is Erlinda. I wasn't always like this. I was born to a mining caste family. We weren't wealthy, but I never went hungry before. Now it's all gone, and it's my own fault. Ancestors curse me, but there's nothing I can do to set it right. My son's father is casteless, as is he. My parents have disowned me unless I agree to abandon the child in the deep roads and pretend I never bore him. In ORZAMMAR, lineage is traced through the child's same-sex parent. Had my baby been a girl, she would have been a minor like me. But as a boy, my son is considered tainted forever by his father's seed. Yes, I can become casteless with him, which is what I've done. Others have raised children like this, right? Begging for change, sleeping in doorways? I thought about that. They say there's no caste up there, that humans don't care about lineage. I've never met a surfacer, though. I thought it might not be safe. I'm not afraid of hard work, only of being somewhere with no chance to do it. If it gives my son a chance to live, I will go. Thank you, stranger, for opening my eyes. Perhaps I'll see you next in the light of the sun.
Now's better than later.
What are you looking for? We got nothing to buy for the likes of you. Or maybe you wanted to sell.
course. Lord Dennick Helmy, honored Desher of the ORZAMMAR Assembly, and terrible disappointment to my esteemed mother, who doesn't like me spending. Perhaps I should give him a second look. So I'm curious. You've been living on the surface, right? Does it function any worse than ORZAMMAR for having abolished caste? You don't get far as the youngest and most outspoken member of the Assembly without keeping an ear to the stone. I heard there was a Grey Warden in town, and the only dwarf to join in years was the casteless who won the proving. Very good. I guess someone already told you I was good for nothing, drinking my life away at tapsters. Or did they leave off at greatest shame to ever fall upon the Assembly? I've always liked that one. You know, most smiths and tavern keeps would make decent deshers if we gave them a chance and a seat in the Assembly. ORZAMMAR are so mired in tradition, no one bothers asking if the castes are even necessary. Me and 79 other fine, upstanding examples of how someone who's born into every privilege inevitably wants more. They're not fond of my views on equality. I doubt either candidate has been outside the Diamond Quarter in his life. But Lord Harrowmont seems a bit more forgiving. Prince Balin's brilliant, I'll give him that, and subtle as sin. But I don't think anything in ORZAMMAR matters more to him than winning. The Assembly passed laws prohibiting the casteless from holding any job a legitimate citizen can do. Of course they turned to crime. What else can they do? As you wish.
Didn't know Cora was letting in brands. You think anyone in Tapsters will let you lay a hand on me, Brand? Now sod off. Mind standing a little downwind?
Welcome to Jannar Family Armors. I assume you have some kind of dispensation to let you wear all that.
Believe it. I heard a dwarven Grey Warden came to ORZAMMAR and I couldn't help but hope. Look at you. My little sister. A battle-scarred veteran. And with quite the unusual entourage. Can you imagine? As of last month, I'm a royal concubine to House Iduken. They've moved Mother and me into the palace. You could fit our whole neighborhood just in the bathing room. I wish you could meet little Endrin, but they don't let me bring him outside the royal nursery. Little Endrin was born right before his grandfather died. His grandfather, the king. Can you believe it? My son is an Iduken. The future king of ORZAMMAR spends his nights in my bed. Barat was a toad, but I have to thank him for teaching me to read, dance, massage, and whatever else Balin sees in me. That's a horrible, vicious lie. Balin told me all about it. Lord Harrowmont always favored Balin's older brother, the one who murdered Trian. Balin thinks Harrowmont set the whole thing up to frame him. Then he had the gall to whisper these things to the dying king. When the king sent him away, Balin cried for weeks. Tell me you don't believe these horrible rumors. Thank you. It's been a little scary, I have to confess. Some people are so angry with him. They'd come after us if they could. But this isn't why you're back, is it? All the news from the surface says terrible things are happening. Darkspawn attacks and a civil war among the humans. And I'm sure the Assembly would agree if they weren't busy arguing the secession. I hate this. Until there's a king, the Assembly would let the world collapse rather than bow to anyone's better judgment. But I can introduce you to Vartek Gavorn. He's Balin's chief lieutenant. He could help you if anyone could. He may be suspicious at first. Don't take it personally. It's been so hard to tell who's against us.
Rika, I'm at the Assembly. This is no place for a woman. What do you mean by this?
Vartag, I want you to meet my sister. She's a Grey Warden and comes from the surface with terrible news.
Of course, I wasn't thinking. It would be hard not to notice the Grey Warden and her eclectic entourage. I hear you seek the aid of ORZAMMAR's finest. Ah, ancient documents indeed. These were signed in the reign of Eithnar Bimo, Paragon and King. That was 16 generations ago. Now the difficulty is that the treaty only compels our king, and we are sadly lacking one of those right now. No one wishes this fight over more than Balin. But while it rages, ORZAMMAR can spare no one to combat what may or may not be a new blight. Wait, we must be cautious about whom to trust. But perhaps we could find a way. Harrowmont has engaged in a campaign of bribery and coercion to ensure that every house serves him. But if a neutral party, a stranger, were to approach certain key members, perhaps with irrefutable evidence of Harrowmont's deception.
Irrefutable evidence? Which I suppose you have?
I'm certain my Lord Prince would show his gratitude. Harrowmont promised the same portion of his estate to two different Deshers, Lady Dace and Lord Helmy. Harrowmont can't possibly grant it to both of them, but they won't find out until after the vote is cast. I have copies of the promissory notes Harrowmont gave each of them. Once they see those, they should both reconsider their votes. That's not important. If they ask, say you found them while searching the Shaper's libraries for your treaty. Normally, the Shapers would handle this sort of accusation. As I'm sure you remember, their libraries hold all our laws and records. They should be the final arbiters of this debate. Unfortunately, the Shaper of Memories is the most important among them, and his grandfather was Lord Harrowmont's aunt's first cousin. Obviously, we cannot expect him to offer an unbiased opinion. Lady Dace doesn't leave the quarter much. But Lord Helmy's adventurous, likes to spend his time at Tapster's in the Commons. Remember, don't tell them you got these papers from me. You learned of them and drew your own conclusions.
I knew Vartag could help you. And just wait until you meet Prince Balin. You'll love him. Finally you ask. He's beautiful, with the biggest brown eyes, and so smart. He already knows who his father is. I'm sure his first word will be Prince. But you're giving me that look. I can take a hint. Finish your business and we can talk later. He isn't, but Gavorn is a very minor house and Balin has always favored them. Vartag's son was fostered with Iduken, which was a great honor. Balin promised that when little Indrin is 12, he'll spend a year there in exchange. Not a lot. She's supposed to be very practical. She doesn't care about larger issues, only how her own house is affected. Vartag speaks favorably of her dedication. His mother is getting on in years and gave up her assembly seat to him. Many of the nobles think he's a disappointment. He actually thinks the lower classes are people. I could almost like him if he wasn't such a vocal supporter for Harrowmont. Off with you then. Far be it for me to keep you from service to my house. I still love saying that. My house.
The assembly is in session. Enter
All right.
quietly if you wish to observe.
Your mind has gone to dust if you think we would pass such a writ. Half our houses would go broke without the service trade.
The proposal is only effective until we have a king to ensure we are respected by the surfacers.
Leaving you conveniently positioned to take over all contracts. I'll see your head on a pike first.
Deshers, lords and ladies of the assembly. I've already doubled the guard to prevent violence. Must I summon more?
Steward Bandalore, Balin's sympathizers are tying our hands with trivialities. They may as well open us to the sky.
I suggest we put the matter to a vote.
And I suggest you have a taste of my family's mace.
Enough! The Assembly is in recess until the members can regain control of their emotions. Stone-forsaken fools and dusters. I'm sorry. This is the Assembly of the Clans. Only dashers and occasional guests of state are allowed in. Oh, Stone. You must be the Grey Warden. I completely forgot about the Gate Guard's message. Welcome back to ORZAMMAR, Warden. A great deal has changed in recent days. Respect for your role is great, but you won't receive a proper hearing until we have a king on the throne. I must admit, Warden, I am at a loss myself. It lies with Prince Balin or Lord Harrowmont, and they are slow to trust anyone in these uncertain times. I only wish there was more I could do for you.
I heard there was a Grey Warden here. I am Dulin Forrender, second to Lord Harrowmont, King Endrin's own choice as successor. Word is spreading that the surface may suffer a blight. It is shameful we are not in a better position to help. That may be, and that is a terrible risk for the surface. But even if the world would end tomorrow, Lord Harrowmont cannot ignore Balin today. He cannot afford to trust anyone of unproven loyalties. You're asking the King of ORZAMMAR to send armies to the surface, but ORZAMMAR has no king and we have no army. Right now, the men who should be fighting Darkspawn are brawling in the street. If this situation is not resolved, we face civil war. If you want Lord Harrowmont's time now, you'll have to prove you have no intention of turning against him later. If you wish to show you have no loyalty to Balin, then work against him in Harrowmont's name. Balin is hosting a proving today, supposedly to honor his father's memory. The Deshers take it very seriously, and unfortunately, Balin found some way to blackmail or intimidate House Harrowmont's best fighters into stepping down. It would certainly make your loyalties loud and clear. Balin would never work with anyone who humiliated him in that way. Harrowmont would have no fear of meeting with you then. Then I'm afraid your only choice is to wait until there's a winner. Lord Harrowmont cannot risk his life working with someone of unproven loyalties. If you change your mind, let me know. The proving is this afternoon, and Lord Harrowmont could certainly use you on his side.
A new offensive is required against the Darkspawn, says Lord Balin.
I hope you'll support Lord Harrowmont.
What do you want? Are you one of those tiresome noble hunters? Neither my sons nor I are interested. Now, is that an attempt to cozen me into revealing my choice, or are you simply making small talk? It's so hard to tell with you surface types. You're all so charmingly direct and artless. Yes, I am a member of the Assembly, a Desher. I will be one of 80 nobles of purest blood to pick our sovereign king. If you're asking me where my vote lies, I'm forbidden to tell until the stones are cast. An interesting accusation. But to cheat me, wouldn't Harrowmont and I need to be in business? Well, this isn't exactly a surface broadsheet. Where did you get these? Never mind. It is true enough, but there's nothing I can do about it. This deal was made on behalf of our entire house. Only my father can revoke it. My vote is the voice of my house. I cannot go against the wishes of my lord. Unfortunately, he won't be back for weeks. He is leading a Deep Roads expedition, trying to secure an ancient thaig. It's unlikely he'll be back before the election, but perhaps this vote is important enough for you to brave the tunnels to tell him? The Dace family would be in your debt. Thank you. He was searching an old Idukan site. He left me with this map, in case his expedition never returned. I'll give you a pass as well. Usually, no one is allowed past the front lines. Good luck.
the dead sighted battling Darkspawn near ORZAMMAR. They have no orders while thrown. Make Harrowmont your king now!
So the closer you live to the surface, the higher class you are.
For want of a king.
Unless you're actually on the surface.
2 years tomorrow. By all the holy sodding ancestors, how can you people just ignore that?
Bronca didn't go alone, Opera. She took the whole house, everybody but you. So just get over to Tapster's and drown yourself already. You know as well as I do that's how this always ends.
You think I'm afraid of some cub warrior who's barely off the teat? Ha! I'll...
You lift a weapon or attack a single citizen in ORZAMMAR, and you're stripped of your caste and exiled. Even you can't have forgotten that. Get out of here before I call a guardsman.
This is all I have right now. I could get more if I sell something.
Well, well. Looks like we have a visitor. Friend of yours?
Is there a problem here, friend? Are these men threatening you?
Please, don't get involved with this. You don't know what they're like.
Then allow me to make some introductions. These are dangerous times in ORZAMMAR, stranger. Lucky us, the merciful Jarvia is offering protection from the chaos. You're wearing some fancy stuff there. Might make you a target. So if you want the Carta's guarantee of safety, it's yours for the reasonable price of 10 gold sovereigns. Or I can't say what might happen. And what the sod do you know about... Hey, you're the Duster, the one who acts Barat. Jarvia's been looking for you, and I bet she'd rather deal with you herself. Enjoy your last night alive, Duster.
Ancestors, bless you for saving my poor store. I don't know how to express my gratitude. I'm showing you the lowest...
I wasn't expecting you back. I guess you realize this is about the only fun in ORZAMMAR? Oh, well, I'd ask for proof, or why you care, but frankly, I'm so tired of it I'm not even surprised anymore. I don't even want the land, but my house would kill me if I turned it down. Responsibilities, you know? Now I'll have to go through the whole process of rejecting the deal. And they'll both have to try something else. And I thought it was going to be a nice day. I actually thought he was the better candidate. You must think I'm pretty soddy naive, huh? They're all the same, well-dressed, blood-sucking cave ticks. I'll have to inform Mother that Lord Harrowmont hasn't bought our vote after all.
Get away! You'll change like the rest! Monsters hidden in all my friends! This thing's older than Darkspawn. And once you're in the story, they find you. See? I found copies. All from the same pen, and older than the ones in song. Dormant my ass! Take them! I want out! I won't disappear chasing a lie! I won't!
Mind standing a little downwind?
Clearly because it is purple, and a hyena.
Then you simply wish to be perverse? Surely you're better than that.
I have found that I'm allowed precious few amusements. Since so many prefer to call me Gollum, I enjoy referring to them in a similar fashion.
Oh, very well. But could you at least use a different adjective? I do not wish my age to be my defining characteristic.
As the fussy mage desires.
Oh, I give up.
Step right up, friend, and have a look at the finest selection of almost new armor and weaponry east of Orlais. Oh, you've heard of me. What have you heard? And just so you know, some of my competitors have been trying to besmirch my sterling reputation. Canary? I'm afraid I don't know the word. Oh, them. Well, I have a few shields here. I had one sword, but I sold it already. A collector. I can't go telling you all about my paying customers. One, it's not ethical, and two, it's bad for business. A lot of my customers are sensitive types. They don't want their personal business related to every stranger who happens along. If I'd known he was still breathing, I would have used a knife. I mean, I'd have been more careful. Redcliffe. The guy who bought it lives in Redcliffe. He's a collector. A dwarf named Dwin, I think. I don't want any trouble. If you see that giant, tell him I don't have it, would you? I don't, I swear. Well, he's the proud owner of your giant sword. If you'll excuse me, I have this sudden urge to pack.
I owe you an explanation for what happened earlier. You should know that something happened to me at the tower before you came along. Remember my apprentice, Petra? She encountered a demon in the tower. It would have killed her had I not intervened. I saved her life that day, but I did not survive that encounter with the demon. No, I'm not undead. If I were a possessed walking corpse and could still think, I'd kill myself. I engaged a very powerful demon to rescue Petra. It sapped me of all my energy and will and left me drained. It took everything I had to defeat it. And when I was done, I no longer had the strength to keep my heart beating. I remember my life ebbing away. Everything receded from me. Sound, light. I remember being enveloped in complete, impenetrable darkness. And then I sensed a presence enfolding me and cradling me, whispering quietly to me. The sensation is impossible to describe. I was being held back, firmly but gently, as a mother would a child, eager to slip from her grasp. I felt life and warmth flowing through my veins again. I began to be aware of small sounds and the discomfort of my hip pressing into the cold stone of the tower floor. The Fade contains spirits both benevolent and malicious. The benevolent spirits seldom make themselves known, because they want nothing from mortals, unlike the demons. It was one of these spirits that saved me. Without it, I would be dead. And it has not left me. It is with me, even now, bonded to me. You see, I am supposed to be dead. It is the spirit that is keeping me in this world. And this is not the way of things. Perhaps the spirit did not expect this, but it is weakening gradually. I am living on borrowed time. I do not know. I can feel when the spirit weakens, so I should have fair warning. But come, let us not talk about this. There is time yet.